Okay, we are back. Well, this is the first time this guest has been here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this title, Senior Vice President of CityWide Development.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good title.
That is a good title.
So we're going to find out what this is all about. Welcome, Steve Nutt, everybody. Hey, hey, Steve. How you doing? Good deal.
5 years. You never had me on.
Well, couldn't get a hold of you. They said you were too important.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Senior Vice President of Citywide Management and Development. Now, what does that mean?
Well, CityWide Development was a...
You can bite you. Go ahead.
You come over here. CityWide Development was an entity that was created by the business community and by the city of Dayton back in the 70s to do some things that city governments can't do legally, and to also fill some some holes that banks weren't able to do in the inner city at that time. Way back in the day, CityWide did a lot of housing loans because banks weren't making housing loans to a lot of areas in the city because of redlining and those types of things. But since those days, we've evolved. We do a lot of business financing for small businesses. We do targeted neighborhood development. For example, Brown Street area between University of Dayton and Miami Valley.
Wow.
We partner with Miami Valley, with the city of Dayton, and with the University of Dayton to go back into that neighborhood, tear out the old rooming houses, build new houses, put an urban design plan for Brown Street together, and 10 years later, that's a whole different place than what it was before.
Steve, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's transformation. We're doing the same type of thing up around Good Samaritan Hospital now, and we've just started a project over in Old North Dayton where we're looking at some similar development in conjunction with Children's Hospital.
How's all this funded now through the partnership?
Funding's different in each case. Typically, what we look for is we have a strategy called asset-based development. So we look for assets that are close to neighborhoods where it's in their best interest to help invest in partnership with the city and maybe with some other funds to make good things happen in and around their neighborhood. So University of Dayton, Miami Valley Hospital both had good reason to want to see good things happen in and around their institutions, because University of Dayton wanted the area to be attractive to students and attractive to students' parents so they can get more students to attend the university. The hospital needed more patients, needed to be able to keep doctors working at that hospital because they compete for those types of things. So it was in their best interest and in the city's best interest to make good things happen in and around that neighborhood.
And the kids at college love to eat.
And the kids in the college love to eat, and people in the inner city like to have places to go eat. So it's turned out really well.
Panera Bread and Chipotle's and
Starbucks.
All my favorite restaurants were all down there, and it's just beautiful.
I ate there tonight before I came here. So
And I looked across the street from Panera Bread, and all those units will have businesses in there. And now, will the upstairs part be rented out, or that be business upstairs?
The upstairs are rented out to graduate students from the University of Dayton.
Wow.
So that's one of the areas we work in, and then another area where we work in is in economic development. And if you look at the city of Dayton, it's no secret that since 1969 we've lost a lot of manufacturing jobs, and those jobs are hard to replace. What we're working in conjunction with the city of Dayton to do is to go back to our roots and figure out what we were really good at. And if you go back 100 years ago, what we were really good at was at inventing things, at using technology to differentiate us from the rest of the world. And we still have a lot of technology know-how in this community through the universities, through some of the private corporations, and especially at Wright-Patterson, because we have 600 PhDs at Wright-Patterson alone. So if we leverage all that know-how and create new industries and new businesses from that, that's our approach. And CityWide is managing a project that ties all that together called the Techtown Technology Park. And we have built our third building there. We have 46 small technology businesses on campus, and what we do is we create an ecosystem to grow those companies in the Dayton in the hopes that one or two or three of them might become NCRs or MEAD or something like that. But we're going back to the old model that worked served us very well 100 years ago, and it's the same model that cities like Pittsburgh and even places like Akron have engaged in, and it's worked out over a period of time. It takes 20 or 30 years to make some of these happen, but that's what we're doing.
So you mentioned 100 years ago. I told Henry that car idea was a great idea. I look good for my age.
Yeah, you do.
He said, "You think I really ought to build that thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll even show you how to crank it and get it going. Be a great business." So you're doing this all over the UD area, and you're going to be working in, where's the other area?
The other area is we work up by Good Sam.
Good Sam.
And we call that the Phoenix Project, and then Old North Dayton, which is an area in and around Children's Hospital and the Salvation Army's facility up there. So.
Well, it's beautiful over there, Brown Street. So if all these things you're doing ends up like Brown Street, you got a win-win situation.
I think so.
You've been doing this now 10 years, would you say all this has kind of started?
The Genesis Project, which is the project in around UD and Miami Valley Hospital, is probably 10 or 11 years old now.
What happened with the crash? I mean, did that affect anything going on with your?
In the '08 crash,
Yeah.
It slowed down a lot of business growth. Yeah. But because the University of Dayton and Miami Valley are to a certain extent recession-proof, that area continued to thrive even during the downturn. It wasn't as affected as many other areas were.
And Wright-Patterson, they still the #1 employer in Miami Valley?
They're the #1 employer in the state of Ohio.
State of Ohio,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, on-site employer.
And they're building all over Wright-Patterson.
And they're building all over. And what's really important to know about Wright-Pat is that it's not just the number of jobs. It's the types of jobs that they have there. The Air Force's research labs are there for all the Air Force are in Dayton. That's a lot of very, very bright people. They also do a lot of the logistics and the procurement are also done from Wright-Patterson. So those are reasons for lots of companies to want to locate in Dayton, somewhat close to the base, so they can have access to that kind of know-how and to the investment that comes out of Wright-Patterson.
Wow.
So.
And 3rd Street, they're all them businesses down from Wimpy's?
Yep.
My God, that is incredible.
It's changed. Yeah, I think I've known you 20, 30 years maybe, Rob. It's changed a lot since we've been around, hasn't it?
It's just revitalized with what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And that's what Dayton really needs.
Yeah.
If we could just get more factories in here, get something going.
It's going to be it's a long-term proposition in terms of trying to make that big of a change. And manufacturing is coming back, and it's coming back in Dayton too. It's different, and it doesn't employ as many folks as it used to because of technology. And to compete in the global market for manufacturing jobs, you really have to have the technology and the know-how, and that's why places like Techtown are so important for us, because we need to come up with the technology that gives us a competitive edge over different other manufacturing centers around the world.
Well, that's great. Well, you got it going, buddy.
We got a lot going on.
I got a hold of Steve because I knew him years ago, and every time I turn on one of the channels, there he is on a microphone talking about a new house and these new houses that I see when they tear an old house down is remarkable.
Yeah, it's that's a program that we're finishing up this year, unfortunately, but it's part of the stimulus program from the federal government, and it was a neighborhood stabilization program. And what we were instructed to do was to go into neighborhoods that are stable but at risk because of all the foreclosures that have been occurring since 2008, and to take some of the worst houses in those neighborhoods that are in foreclosure and vacant, and to refurbish them almost like new houses with new utilities, new windows, new everything, and then to put it back on the market to elevate the prices in the neighborhood and to help stabilize those neighborhoods. And we have had a lot of success with those houses.
What's going on with the arcade?
You know, I worked on the arcade project years and years ago, but I wouldn't be able to tell you anything you haven't read in the papers.
Is it ever going to kick off, you think? God, when I was a kid, to go in there, the first thing you smell when you go in the big entrance on Thursday, the fish, because that was the first counter. And when I was a kid, my sister and I go downtown to the Kresge's. Well, that was way before your time. No, and 2 blocks away, you could smell the caramel popcorn.
We need a venue like that. And that is a one-of-a-kind building. It would be a shame if
it's incredibly beautiful.
If we're not able to save that building. I don't know if you remember Arcade Holidays by chance?
No.
Back in the early 90s, right after the arcade shut down, the city for 2 years, and the community, I shouldn't say the city, the community put together an event called Arcade Holidays, and from the 1st of November all the way through New Year's, reopened the arcade and had all kinds of vendors and performers, and it was decorated way over the top, and it drew tens of thousands of people those 2 years.
Wow.
But there just wasn't enough funding to keep that going.
So it's kind of right now a standstill.
I think so. I'm really not.
It's such a great part of Dayton, you know?
It is. It really is.
I mean, the Memorial Hall, the history. And when I was a kid, I even loved the Victory Theater then. And then we had the RKO Keats, the RKO State. I don't know if I should tell this story or not. But right before they tore down the Mayfair Burlesque, I got to go in there and see the theater.
Oh, you did?
The wooden thing around there to build today would cost you a fortune.
I'll bet.
That's where Melton Berle started in the circuit. Melton Berle, Red Scout, right? They all appeared at the Mayfair Burlesque.
I did not know that.
I'll tell you a real quick story. I love the story. When Paul Dixon came to town and Bob Run, I used to go down and pick up Colleen, Marion, and all the people to take them to the Memorial Hall.
Yep.
So Marion Spellman and Elsa Sewell, which was Ruth Lyon's assistant, said, Rob, we were bad last night. I said, why? Well, we didn't know. We went to the State Theater, and they turned the State Theater into X-rated movies. And we went in, got our tickets, sat down, the movie started playing. She goes, my God, Rob, I didn't know people could do that. And I put the hood over my hat, and we snuck out the door, and we ran back to the hotel. You won't tell anybody, will you? So I've never told anybody that, and it's still a secret. I mean, if you would have heard them tell the story, you know Marion Spellman, you remember her?
Sure, sure.
I mean, to hear her tell this, because she happened to have a veil over her hat.
Yeah.
So those were good times. But Dayton has had some beautiful theaters. I mean,
absolutely.
And now with the Victoria,
and
the Schuster, my God,
world class.
It's exactly right, world class. You want to see something world class? Come to Dayton, Ohio. I think people that live here, and I've said this to the mayor several times. We've got the Air Force Museum. We've got the Schuster, the Victoria. We've got Carillon Park. We've got all these great things and all these neighborhoods just packed with people, like Brown Street, and we got the green out there. We got all these great areas that people are really into. It's just really changing in a positive way. And from what you're telling me, it's all because of what you and your guys are doing.
No, it's what the community's doing.
Well, it takes leaders, and you're a good leader.
Thank you.
And if that wasn't true, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
So, but nice to have you here.
I always